And welcome to Double Talk. I'm Mark Steffen.
I'm Michael Mandel, and we're glad to be here after our last week's show when we're doing our single malt Scotch tasting.
Was that last week?
It was last week.
Oh, I've forgotten it already.
We've recovered. Well, that's because you sobered up yesterday.
Oh, well.
You did. You know, we're doing things like Scotch tastings, and the 2 months before we did Irish
whiskeys for St. Patty's Day.
And we know that the bulk of the shows on this channel are against sin and drinking and, you know,
having fun,
having a good time. So we're here to give this whole station some balance. And if you want a way to find yourself in life, it's not drinking. Although you could find out the things you like to drink by tasting a lot of drinks, and therefore you can find more ways to define yourself through drinking.
Well, it's also a good way to determine your limits.
That's true. You should know your limits.
That's what college is supposed to be for, isn't it?
That's true. You say, I break through my limits, and then you go into a dark funk, and then you get out of your funk and you say, I'll never do that again. Many people I know have got into their funks with tequila, right?
Well,
especially around this area.
I wouldn't call it a funk, but more like a fetal position.
Or it could have been a flunk if you were still in college.
That's true.
And therefore, many people give up tequila. That doesn't make sense. What makes sense is you can have tequila. Just remember what the effects are of having too much, as with vodka and Scotch and Irish
And just
whiskey.
stay away from the cheap stuff, really.
That's right. We don't want to do cheap stuff. You know, the single malt Scotch I avoided last week, the Lagavulin, because I had tasted it before and I thought it was like overly peaty.
Was that the one that tastes like burnt plastic?
Yeah, they all do. No, half of them did. The Talisker, a lot of them did. But Lagavulin, turns out, is rated #1 on the Mad Malt website and is quite an expensive
Well, Michael, nobody knows what you're talking
Scotch.
about. Nobody's ever heard of that Scotch, and me included.
Which is why we're here, to give people ideas of other things they could try. You can get Lagavulin at Sam's. You can get it at
Celebrate. But okay, you just said you didn't think you would like it, and you're going to pay $60 for a bottle of Scotch. $80 for a bottle of Scotch that people don't even like. What's the point?
Well, since hearing what I heard about it being one of the best, I decided to go back and try it. One of the things that you have to do in Scotch tasting is give it a chance to open up after you've poured it.
And breathe, like wine.
And also you can put a little bit of water in it, and it opens up, and it actually does taste much better than I
That's
thought
fine
it did
for
at
you
first.
to do, but it's not like where they have wine tastings around town where you can actually go and sample these things. They don't have Scotch tasting samplers around town.
Well, more is the pity. Are you suggesting somebody should do a
I wish they would.
Or a vodka tasting?
Just because we are able to do it for a television show doesn't mean that the average person out there can go and taste a $90 bottle of Scotch.
You could go into a bar. You know, Double Eagle has a pretty good bar, and De La Vega probably has some pretty good single
I'd be
malts.
surprised if they had a lot of these true Scotches from Scotland, like we tried on the
all
TV
the
show.
Scotches are from Scotland, but the more expensive ones, I would think, we have another exploratory thing. We will now do a series of going through bars and seeing what great high-end things.
That'd be an interesting thing. I wonder what an expensive shot of Scotch would cost in a bar like the Double E. You're looking at $12 to $14.
That's right.
For 1.5 ounces.
That's right.
Two at the bartender's.
That's right. But if you get just a regular thing like Glenfiddich, you're paying like $8 maybe. And Glenfiddich costs, a bottle of Glenfiddich is like $38, which is half. So if you get it for $8 and you get Lagavulin for $12, you're saving $2.
That's true. I guess you're doing better with
right
that.
There. But we could just see what they have and take a look, and so that people such as those of you on TV, in the TV watching world, who don't have a great store of tens and thousands of single malts like we are privy to, can go and start tasting these things. But you do have to give it time to open up.
And why are we privy to that? Oh, yes, the secret tasting room.
We have the secret tasting room.
That only we know of.
By our secret sponsor.
And, well, yes, that's true. And, you know, luckily we didn't drink enough for it to set our hair on edge. But speaking of hair.
Are you speaking of hair? I was going to
I
into hair.
do want to mention.
Your hair, once again, looks great.
That my hair is done every week for this show by Ramon Madrid down at Max Designs. And I also want to mention that my nails are also done by one of the top nail technicians in town.
Zoccoli.
Pam Zaccoli.
Zaccoli.
And
And
I'm
thank them.
sorry, I said Pam. I meant Kim.
Kim.
Kimberly Zaccoli.
Kimberly.
Kimberly Zaccoli at Max Designs does nails, manicures, pedicures, nail extensions, artistically done nails. If you want great nails, ladies, see Kimberly.
Or men.
And if you want manicures and pedicures, she gave me both this week. She did a wonderful job. My nails have never been better.
Can I see your pedicure?
And,
you want to show your pedicure?
I won't show it on the air, but I'll show you privately.
Well, I can't wait until the show's over then.
And anyway, and Ramon at Max Hair Designs does my hair.
What are you doing there? That's the right.
I look at the monitor and it's
Everything's
backwards. In here in TV
you
land.
Can't do that. But
Anyway.
so this is what you get when you actually go to a real hair design.
I would look far worse if
this
it were
is
not
what you
for
get
them.
for doing nothing.
For what, supercuts?
No, I can't afford that kind of money.
I understand.
I do it with. I actually cut my hair with a nail clipper. That way, you get to do a pedicure and a haircut at the same time.
So you get
Little,
foot and head disease at the same time.
yeah, foot and mouth, hoof and mouth. Yes, all at the same time.
Foot and scalp disease.
Oh, so the benefits, and this way, when we're out, going from bar to bar tasting stuff, people go, look at that man's hair. Does that sheen come from drinking single malt Scotch?
It
and you
could.
could say no, or perhaps it does, but it could come from Max hair design, right?
I'm like Bill Clinton.
We just spent over a minute
I
talking
might
about
try
this.
it, but I don't swallow.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
So
You actually do. I've watched. You actually do inhale your Scotch. You don't drink it. You inhale it. It just goes.
well, you do
quick.
have to. You want to sniff it to get its
Want to
bouquet. That's
introduce-
all part of it.
You have to
like with
stick in
wine.
it. Yes.
You know. And we're going to do an interesting vodka
We
tasting soon, aren't we?
We are. I was at somebody's house last night. Somebody who I once borrowed a shirt and a tie for to do the show because I was at their house. They came out with a square bottle of gin from actually Holland, and they say,
Nice.
"Taste this." And because she said she wasn't sure about it. Everything was written in whatever
Dutch.
Dutch. I thought Hollandaise.
Hollandaise.
No.
You've been hitting the sauce.
And so he tasted it. It tasted just like vodka. We couldn't understand. We're still.
It's in the wrong
we're
bottle.
Still,
They forgot the
upset.
juniper berries.
They said it was with juniper, but it
I'd like to
had
taste
very
that.
light juniper. It tasted pretty much like a very soft Absolute vodka.
Well, we could do a gin tasting too.
I'd love to do
And maybe a
gin tasting.
martini evaluation.
That is complicated because you have to be so specific in how much.
We need a
vermouth.
martini technician, if there are any out there
Oh, we need a martini.
who would like to
tech.
help us. A martini
Raise your
tech.
hand. Raise your hand.
Please call the station, and you'll be on the air.
All right. That guy. See that
Really?
guy? Yeah.
Him?
Here he is.
Okay.
Come
Okay.
in and do the show.
Now, also,
now we're talking about drinking.
um,
Let's talk about partying because partying's good.
partying's very
You want
good.
to talk about partying?
Okay.
That's we're having a party for this woman this evening. She is Frances Williams. She happens to have great impact at White Sands. She was the head of the Equal Opportunity Employment office there. And in the 60s and 70s, she was very instrumental in getting women more jobs. And that was the time when women were starting to, liberate themselves. And she was like a Helen Gurley Brown of White Sands Missile Range.
She was a political activist.
And as well, she ran for mayor here.
Ah.
Frances Williams. So we are having a tribute to her this evening at the Las Cruces Convention Center. And those of you who, at 6:30,
6:30
but you don't have to be
on.
exactly on time.
Food,
tonight.
drinks, or what?
You get a meal. Actually, you're supposed to call in advance. Might be a little late, but you might be able to show up and still pay. It's pretty much $75 a head to
I
get
see.
in.
Now, where does the money go to?
The money goes to Temple Bethel, she's a member of, as well as the White Sands Museum. And since she worked in White Sands for like 30 to 70 years, I'm not sure, it's an appropriate place.
Okay.
And the new general, actually he's been there since this year. He used to be called Colonel Ferrari, and now he's General Ferrari because he was just been promoted. He will be giving a talk. So that should be fun. You like parties, don't you?
Sure do. I like Ferraris too.
I like Ferraris too. I don't think he'll let you ride him. He probably has a bodyguard.
Okay, well, maybe I'll see you there, Michael, and
Perhaps.
some of you out there too.
Because I never see you. Where are you all day?
Also,
We're working.
Also, you may meet a candidate for U.S. Congress there.
I might, and you never know. It's not supposed to be politically oriented, but a lot of politicos and heavy hitters go to these types of tributes.
Right. Right. Now, also on a sad note,
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Heavy hitter.
I need
That's
to-
not the sad note.
I need to
take that
record.
picture off.
I need to record the
There we
passing
go.
of Eric Ness, who was a newsman here for 30 years. He was the voice of the Farm Bureau for 30 years. He just recently retired from the Farm Bureau about a year and a half ago, and was working part-time for the irrigation district as a publicist consultant.
It looks much tougher than that. I like that picture.
I first met Eric in journalism school way back in college, and he and I were most recently going to be working on a project together. And unfortunately, he passed away a week ago today.
You've done a lot of work with him, right?
So
I've known you
Eric
always
a
used to
long
talk
time.
about him, like Eric Ness and
Eric
you
and
were gonna do
Eric and I
projects.
each had our own films at the White Sands Film Festival last year, and
Then you're the same age, aren't you?
pretty much the same age,
That hairstyle, though, makes you look at least 20 years
quite
younger.
a bit younger.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Eric was a great guy. In fact, he was also a neighbor of mine, as it turns out. He only lived a block away, and so my sympathy goes out to his wife and his family. And also, you know who else died?
No. Is it catching?
A local hot dog businessman named LeVar Washington.
Yes, LeVar Washington did Chicago Southwest, and he first took over the Junga Juice on Loman next to Lorenzo's. Then he started doing the Nathan's hot dogs, and I always mean to go, hot dogs, people have different feelings about it. But I finally tried it a week and a half ago at the Lorenzo's on Amador.
Right? How was it?
I actually liked it. Nathan's are pretty darn good hot dogs. People say, hot dogs, they don't taste, they taste crummy. I've had hot dogs
wonder
at
why.
Sonic and Wiener Schnitzel. Nathan's hot dogs are very good, and I had a chili dog. I also had the one with sauerkraut. I really liked it. Unfortunately, I think the locations have been closed. We'll see if they open up. Just when I was getting into those hot dogs, they go
well,
down.
if you're going to eat ground up hog anus, lips and lungs, you might as well eat the best quality of all.
Nathan's are kind of kosher. They're
Well,
not quite
beef.
kosher.
Okay, so they're beef.
They're all beef.
Anus.
The only ones that are better, there's some that
Rectums.
are better. There is Hebrew National. Hebrew Nationals are great. Even you, had you been interested in eating beef, would eat a Nathan's. I mean, Hebrew National.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't eat
How
that.
about a chicken hot dog?
No. Now, how about who else died? A famous author, Carlos Fuentes.
Carlos Fuentes. He was a
Famous
good friend.
author. Where's he from? South
He
America.
was from Mexico.
Mexico.
And he was friends with Gabriel Garcia Marquez, who wrote Hundred Years of Solitude.
Who also wrote, didn't he win the Nobel Prize?
I think Marquez.
Gabriel
might have.
Garcia. Marquez
Yes, he
did, I believe.
But he did not write Kiss the Spider Woman,
No.
who is Manuel Puig.
Puig, yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, the one on the right is our famous author who died.
All
And
right.
and who else died was Donna Summer, disco queen of them all.
Unfortunately, Donna Summer was great.
We're going to come back to Donna Summer because we have to take a break now.
Do we have to take a break now? Let us know if we have to take a break now.
Oh, about a minute? Oh, okay. So we've got Donna Summer. She was a disco queen, and when you think of disco, you think of disco balls, right?
Well,
The mirrored balls.
oh,
She was a disco
yes.
queen like that.
yes.
And speaking of round things like that, we have a solar eclipse coming up.
And there it's coming up.
And we're going to talk about the solar eclipse when we get back because we don't have time to go into all of the details.
Because the ads will eclipse this show right now.
That's true. So we'll be right back
Stay
after
tuned.
these vital words.
Don't stay tuned. Keep going. Yes, we don't know if we're going to have a solar eclipse or not. We should have just the sun come across.
Welcome to La Buena Vida Women's Club, located away from the crowds but close to home. Come in throughout the day for Jazzercise, the world's dance fitness leader for nearly 40 years. Treat yourself to a relaxing massage. Or unwind in the lounge area or outside on the balcony with friends. La Buena Vida Women's Club, located and designed with women in mind. For information, call Diane at 650-9721.
Celebrate, celebrate, Fiesta Motors.
Come and see us today and discover why our service is second to none. In business for over 17 years, we have the right car for you. When you buy a vehicle from Fiesta Motors, we do everything possible to ensure your satisfaction. Located at the Coyo in Maine. See you there.
Celebrate, Fiesta Motors, where buying a car is always a celebration.
beautiful homes in Las Cruces have one thing in common. It's Don Tan Interiors, the local experts in granite countertops and fine kitchen cabinetry. When it comes to home improvement, think Don Tan Interiors.
Don Tan Interiors. Make yourself a beautiful home.
And we're back right here talking about Donna Summer, the late Donna Summer.
Yes.
And
she had much more influence than just, her name being Donna Summer. She was in the years when you and I were partying and dancing. And
she was the disco queen.
That's true.
Of the time.
Thank God it's Friday.
And
yes, thank God it's Friday.
Who did It's Raining Men? That must have been...
That was no.
No.
And then we had also
call it
Saturday Night Fever. I think she was in that.
She had
huge hits.
That was the Bee Gees.
They had 3 or 4 songs.
But you experienced the disco years. You were here. I was in New York during the disco years, and we used to go to a disco called the Crisco Disco.
I
wonder what they did with the Crisco.
You'd lube up there and move on.
Well, actually, they wanded you, so they made sure you didn't bring any weapons in.
And then from disco balls, we segued into the solar eclipse happening Sunday night. It's coming up. You don't want to look at the sun directly.
Eclipse, yes.
Solar eclipse, the moon passes between the Earth and the sun and casts its shadow.
That's an almost total eclipse.
Now here in Las Cruces, we won't get a total eclipse. We will get a partial eclipse, but it's worth looking at because it's very interesting to see the sun partially disappear.
Yeah, but don't stare at it.
And then it comes back out.
If you want to turn a partial eclipse into a solar eclipse,
stare
just
at it.
Or put your hand in front of the sun. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing. You realize putting your hand in front of the sun is like an eclipse at all points, anytime.
Now,
you don't like that
it
part?
will be total in China and other places in the Far East.
So those of you who are watching this in China, you're in for something good. Of course, not at the same time, since when we're seeing the total eclipse, it's total eclipse anyway because it's nighttime by you.
Well, it's almost
those
nighttime.
Of you China people.
It's just before the sun goes down.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You read the article.
So anyway,
you're supposed to be
tomorrow night.
Here's our scientific.
Tomorrow night we'll reach totality at around 7:30 in the evening. So you'll want to be looking for the sun. Start looking. They're going to have telescopes set up at the university. Solar
but you
telescopes.
Can't look in.
You can look in, of course.
How do you look in?
They're set up.
Your eyes
no, they're properly filtered.
They'll get it.
If you have really dark welder's goggles, you can look at the sun.
I think that's a myth.
No, it's true.
Depends on how strong your welder's goggles
are.
Or
you can do the projectile version.
Vomiting?
Where it's projected.
Projectile vomiting?
The pinhole version.
Oh, the pinhole where you have a little pin and then you could look at the reflection.
Yeah, so look at it projected onto the floor or whatever.
Or you could just turn the show on and see that picture once again, and pretty much.
Well, if you turn on many of the news stations at that hour, you'll be able to see it live here in the U.S. around 7:30 our time.
And it probably won't look like that because the background is not black. It would be kind of bluish.
Well, it depends on how they filter it.
Just like me, I'm kind of Jewish.
Bluish and Jewish.
Yes.
And so anyway, that's what's happening tomorrow night. Interesting galactic
and
events.
it's free. It's a free event. We bring you these free events.
Like this show. It's absolutely free.
We do have sponsors now, kind of. Your hair man, your nail man. Those other people, Don Tan Interiors.
But who's sponsoring the eclipse?
God.
And us. Double Talk is the new sponsor of the partial eclipse of the sun in North America only. We have North American rights.
Sponsored by Anonymous, and that's us. We're anonymous.
That's right. So. Now, also speaking of other galactic events, there's an election coming up next month.
Are you kidding me? I thought most elections take place in November.
Oh, no.
How could it be next month?
Well, that's when the primaries take place.
Really?
That's when they weed out all the people that you're going to vote for in the November general election.
They weed them.
They weed them out. Now, these are precinct workers, and these are the people who, when you vote, are the ones who sign you up on the roster.
Verify that it's
They
you.
might check your identification, although they're not really, you don't have to show it. Although I noticed in early voting, you do have to show it.
Well, because a lot of shenanigans could go on. But if you can't really define yourself and you don't know who you are, they will help you out there.
That's right. And if
They're
you would
like
like to be one of these ladies
or
men, you can take a class that will qualify you to work. They pay you, I think it's $10 an hour, I'm not sure, $10 to $12 an hour. You can work one of the polls.
That's real money.
You can actually request one in your neighborhood even.
What's the phone number?
And the phone number to take a class to be an election worker is 647-7428. And there was a class held last
Can I
night.
write that down? 647-7428?
Yeah, go ahead, Laura. There was a class last night. There's going to be 2 more classes. One, I think, is down in Gadsden, and the other one will be here someplace in town.
How long do they last, those classes?
It's a 2-hour class.
It's pretty easy.
That's all you have to do to qualify to be a precinct judge, precinct inspector, and it's a 12-hour day. You get about $100 out of it.
Well, that's not bad for
It's
a
a nice
day's
day.
work.
And they pay you for the class too, by the way.
And you don't have to really do much except talk to people.
Sit there and
Which
talk
is
to people.
Actually, it's the same thing we're doing here. Maybe we should do it while we're doing the show. Have people come in here. Well, we'll have people come in here and
vote.
sign up for voting. Yeah,
That's
we'll
true.
promote the show there.
Yeah. Actually, I went out and
We're taking a
got
flyer just doing the show.
I went out and got deputized this week to sign up people. I am now qualified to sign people up to register to vote. So
Right.
I can now
Did you take
officially
a course for that?
I can officially register people to vote.
I heard kids at the. Didn't you tell me somebody was busted because once you register somebody, you have like 48 hours to get the
That's correct.
thing in?
If you don't turn it in on time, you're guilty of a 4th-degree felony.
Well, it's only 4th degree.
That's only 4th degree.
You're a mini
It's
felon.
almost a
mini
misdemeanor.
felon, yes.
Right.
If
So
they convict you.
if you want to be a precinct worker,
Hey, is there any
Follow up.
way you could ruin your reputation as a poll worker? There's no felony things that you could do by accident.
if you let people vote who have no business voting,
Well, they only do that in Sunland Park.
If you
where
commit
can
voter
sign up-
fraud-
Sunland Park, where you can get a license.
if you know that a
If
person
you're
on
from-
your roster has actually deceased, and you allow a person under the guise of that person vote, then you're guilty also of election fraud, and that's a federal offense.
Can't you plead the 5th? Can't you plead? I didn't know they were not them. How would you know?
I'm just saying
bring in-
if you knew
Oh,
and allowed a person to vote who had no business
Okay.
voting.
well.
So that's how it works. Now, I see that
There's-
you want to talk about Walmart.
You're talking about jobs that last for 10 hours
10
or
hours,
12
yeah.
hours. You get a job at Walmart, you're there for life.
Yeah, part-time
Right,
with no benefits.
Part-time, no benefits. Therefore, your life probably isn't that long. It'll just feel that long. But we have nothing against Walmart except pink slime.
Well, they still sell pink slime
Well, it's not marketed as pink slime. It's marketed as
as
beef.
hamburger
Do we-
meat, but the pink slime is mixed in. So you know it's there.
But one good thing about pink slime is that pretty soon, in a year or two, no, probably in a year,
Less than a year, I
we're
guess.
going to get a third Walmart up by Route 70,
Rinconada
which we've
Boulevard.
been waiting for
Have you?
for a long time. We've been waiting for it because all the other Walmarts will be able to, you'll be able
less
to get
crowded?
parking.
Well, also, and of course, there's local mom and pop stores that sell the same goods and services Walmart does, who will now be going out of business in that neighborhood.
On the other hand, the real estate agents who have the land that's near Walmart say that this is a great opportunity for mom and pop stores
Yeah.
to buy land from them so they could set up their mom and pop stores and sell something which Walmart doesn't sell.
What's
Which
that?
would be quality items
Quality items made in America,
or
or a restaurant would be a good
a
thing.
restaurant made in
Walmart doesn't
America.
have any decent food you can buy ready-made or made to order.
But Pro Ranch does.
That's true, they do.
You know, I hear Pro Ranch does. Do we talk about their clam chowder?
Clam chowder.
They make a great clam chowder.
I haven't tried the clam
Do you like
chowder.
clam chowder?
I love clam chowder.
Do you like
clam chowder.
pecan pie?
Well, it depends on if it's made with high fructose corn syrup or not.
Oh, the highest.
I'm sure it is.
Because you like high stuff. High is good, right? High means good. You're on low.
super
stuff.
high.
Yeah, super leaded. No, it's a really good pecan pie, which doesn't have whole pecans, has small ones, so you don't have to spend your whole life chewing.
I see.
You know, that's like you might as well eat a nut and put high fructose syrup on it.
Okay.
So yes, we're into our next Walmart. We are also getting a Lithia. It's a name of a company, is coming in and going into the Saturn space with Dodge cars. That's a Dodge car.
I see.
You know, people who, isn't Dodge like a really old brand of car?
Well, it's not as old
It's-
as Ford.
No, but Dodge was really, that looks like a Ford Model T.
Packard.
Packard. They don't even make Packards anymore.
Well, if that car was coming down the street, it wouldn't be too much trouble to dodge it out of its way.
No, that's probably what you had to do in the old days. Why, honey?
Didn't they call
I
that
thought I was a horse.
Didn't they call that a velocipede or something?
Velocipede. No, that was. I think that was the first mechanical bicycle was a Velocipede.
Okay, well that looks like a car out of Life with
So
Father.
yes, Dodge. You know, Sandoval used to do Dodges, right?
Sure, Sandoval Dodge.
And they were famous for it. But then they
Chrysler.
lost during
Chrysler
Chrysler.
canceled most of their dealerships.
You know why? Because in 2008 started the Great Depression we're in, and of course
Well, they went bankrupt. They had to ask the federal government for
all
a
the
handout.
car stores were going to go out. I mean, we could have lost Ford. We could have lost General Motors. Could have lost.
Well, no, we were going to lose Ford. They didn't even
No,
ask
Ford
for
was
money.
pretty good. Well, they managed to. Yeah, but General Motors, which is the biggest car manufacturer in the world,
They asked
was
for
gonna go
money,
out.
helped them.
They
They're
got the
back on
money.
track, and they paid the money back.
Same as Dodge.
Yes, same
As
Dodge.
well as what's the name of the company? Chrysler.
Yeah, Chrysler.
You know, they needed a hand, and we gave them a hand.
Yeah. Now, dogs and cats
I love dogs and cats.
are up for adoption.
when somebody else owns them.
There's one of each right there.
Yeah.
And you know, today the dog park, Las Cruces' very own dog park, is
Where is that
celebrating
dog
its
park?
3rd anniversary. It's down on South Hernandez Street, right near the elementary school.
Oh,
I forget the name of that elementary school, but it's just north
Valley View.
of Loman.
Where's Hernandez?
Yeah, Valley View Elementary.
Valley View.
I believe it
There's a
is.
dog. The woman who has that dog doesn't know that her dog's behind her, and somebody's going to come and knock her over. You know, it's one of those setup jokes where the dog gets behind you, and then another dog
Someone
jumps on
pushes
you. So you have to watch out. Is that what it is?
No. Now, also today are pet adoptions. I want you all to know about, which are happening today at the Tractor Supply Company on the corner of Picacho and Valley Drive.
They must like animals.
And that's going on from now until 3 p.m. Today,
Oh,
May
that's good.
19th.
See how to get
Yep.
involved in the DAPA.
Right.
Oh, Doniana Pets Alive.
Now, you were talking about the famous name. People name their dogs. People also name their kids,
They
strangely
do?
enough.
You know, the most popular name this year, I think for the 2nd year in a row, is Sophia for girls.
Sophia.
And we think it comes from Sophia, this is my idea,
Sophia Loren.
Vergara,
Oh,
who is in Modern Family, who's
I see.
quite a dynamite
Quite a looker.
person. And the top male thing is, what is it?
Murray.
Jacob.
Oh.
It's Jacob. Who's, maybe because Abraham was taken, I don't know.
I don't know. But Mark and Michael are not the top names.
Michael has been in the top 5 since 1948. This is the first year Michael has been knocked to 6. Mark, of course, you know.
You know,
How
well,
did you ever get the name Mark?
well, let me
mean,
tell you this.
yeah.
Strangely enough, my name is Mark, but do you know I was named really after George Washington?
Yes.
I was named after George.
Why is that?
Well, because look how long ago it was. I couldn't have been named before him. And with that, folks, we have to wrap up the show. Thank you for watching Double Talk.
Well, we should.
Mark and Mike, we'll see you here next week. Bye now.